Hello and welcome to the daily guidance for today. Let's pull a message. I do want to say something. This journey, this path to self and allowing your authentic self to thrive and take the lead, it's not for the weak, right? And when people say that, it means that you have to be very strong. This journey is for everybody. Anyone who feels led to get on it, it's for you. And you can get through it. But when you hear people say it's not for the weak, it means if you are easily put back into a mindset that takes you outside of yourself, for example, as soon as things don't go the way you hope for it to go, you start blaming or looking for someone or something to blame. You start looking outside for a reason. Okay, that's where I'm going. If every time something happens, you reflect outside versus inside, it's gonna seem even more challenging. This journey is about self. So whenever you're looking for answers, you gotta go within. Anytime you find yourself going without, it's this person's fault. Well, if this person didn't do that, and if this didn't go like this, or if my job wasn't like this, or if I didn't live here, or, if this person didn't do this a few years ago, every time things are not going your way, if you find yourself going outside yourself, trying to look for an answer, that is a relapse. You're relapsing, and you're being pulled back down. Okay, this is a hard journey. On the journey, the catalyst, right, whatever it was, the stimulant that put you on the journey, it could have been a relationship, an event, a death, whatever it is, right? It gets you moving. So that is basically the motivator to get to know yourself. And it's usually a very, 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 very emotional experience. And it takes you to the depth of who you are. Now, on your journey, you're gonna encounter a mentor, a teacher, an advisor, something of that sort, something of that energy. And it could be a friend, it could be someone that you're actually seeing in a professional way. It could be family members. There's going to be someone sent to you to guide you, okay? Once you get to the point where you can do it on your own, you're going to be guided to remove yourself from that teacher, that guide, that mentor, whoever it is that got you so far. There will be a period of separation from them, and or they will call on you to change the dynamics where you start leading yourself, okay? Now, if you don't get the signs that they're sending you to detach from the mentor or the guide, what will start to happen is like a repellent energy where you may start to have some negative feelings towards the person. And that will cause you to remove yourself from that person. But if it gets to the point where you're seeing that person or energy, whatever it is, in a negative light, and I'm talking about the energy that has basically guided you or advised you up until a certain point, if you start having negative emotions towards that energy, it is a telltale sign that you stayed attached to them for too long. Okay? Too much of anything is not good, or too much of anything is bad. I actually uploaded a video on that recently. And that's basically what that would be. Because you're supposed to be guided up until a certain point, and then once you get to that point, you're supposed to remove yourself, withdraw, retreat, even if it's temporary, right? When we're called to do these type of things, it's usually temporary or for the time being, and it's so that you can lead yourself and so that you can know that you can actually lead yourself. So it's about allowing you to become fully who you're meant to be. But if you don't get the signs, you create a negative reaction between you and that energy because you were there too long. And I'm seeing this a lot for people who, once they get to a certain point in their journey, they start talking negatively about whoever it was that helped them. And it's always interesting to watch because that person doesn't realize that that person who guided them up until that point, they're not the issue, right? So we're getting back to this is not for the weak. It's never another person outside of you's fault. It's never. They play roles in it. Yes, everything around you affects you. However, if that's how you justify your action, if you justify your action and it's always because of someone else, you have to look at that, because that is not going to take you on that journey to self. It's only going to take you on a journey where you're trying to get to know yourself, but you never fully get to know yourself because you keep going outside. And it's not about blaming yourself. It's not about blaming the other person. It's more about understanding what's actually happening. The bigger picture. The bigger picture is it's never anyone's fault. It's not your fault. It's not their fault. It's not anyone's fault. You're literally just experiencing something that you agreed to experience to get you to the next level. That's all it is. So, pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the signs. Everything kind of runs out after a certain period, right? We're moving into the new year. Start making your New Year's resolutions. And not only that, I mean, New Year's resolutions is one way that people do it, but just stay on the path. It is narrow. Sometimes the narrow path expands, but while you're in the beginning, just know, yes, when you first start the journey, it's exciting. You're going to get fast results because this is how they build momentum with you to get you to stay on the path. You're going to start seeing a lot of things change and shift, and it's going to get great and it's going to feel good. And then you have to walk through that valley of the shadow of death, and you have to do that by yourself. And when you're there, how you deal with that, like your mental capacity to deal with that matters. That's the true test. This whole journey, it's all about your mental and emotional stability and balance. This is masculine, feminine balance. This is yin, yang. This is light, dark. It's all about balance. So when you get to that point where you're having to walk alone, pay attention to where your thoughts go. Don't get pulled down in that trap where you think you're doing something because of someone else. Always remind yourself, this is your journey, and you're ready to take full responsibility for what's happening. It's almost always no one's fault. People just come in as catalysts, as triggers, as stimulants, as helpers, basically, as guides, as your teachers to help you. Okay? Always go within. Let's get a message. Wow. Fools embrace transmuting pain. That's exactly what I'm talking about. When you get to this point where it's you by yourself and you see the moon behind him, this is the dark night of the soul, right? When you get to a certain point in the journey, you have to go alone. I can say it's not easy, but I don't know if that's fully true. It's just, it requires you to be stretched. It requires you to expand. It requires you to go through the depths of your pain and transmute it. And this part has to be done alone. Wow. The eye of the needle. Your intention. So right now you really have to have a target. This is the narrow path, right? You basically have to stay on track. And it's going to take a lot of focus and intention. So many of you may be experiencing probably the most rigorous, challenging part of the journey. And you have to stay focused We have the dream thief, refuser of the call, and this could happen. This is when you start backsliding. This is a relapse. You allow your dreams to be stolen and you stop moving forward. And you're usually doing this because of some external energy you're focused on. When this happens, that means you're external. You're not inside. You're not internal. You are looking at something outside of you to make sense of what's happening within. That's not going to work. And also what's happening is you're letting your dreams be stolen. When you're here, the dream thief shows up because it knows you're vulnerable. So you got to be very strong. The eye of the needle, stay on that narrow path. And this is when you get a breakthrough. This is about like mental clarity. It says the beginner's mind, the first breath. This is like being born again. Many of you are being born again, but you got to break through patterns. You have to break through the patterns that are not helping you. And it all happens in the mind. So right now, your mental strength is important. Vanishing, mirror, ego sublimation. So this is breaking through the false self, right? The ego. Everything shatters here. This is not for the weak. It really is not. It's not. You have to be strong. Because you can do it. Everyone can do it once you commit to it. The trick, you can say, the trick is you have to surrender and remind yourself there's nothing that I am presented to that I can't handle. And you have to remind yourself that this is only temporary. It's a passing energy. Let the energies flow through you and release them. But there is a point in the journey you have to be by yourself. That's usually the hardest time. And this is when the lower vibrational energies will definitely try to come through and snatch your dreams if you succumb to the negative thought patterns. So you have to be strong. You have to be strong. And yes, many people relapse. They get so far and they relapse. I see it. I watch people close to me go through this. It happens. 2 years later, they find themselves at the same crossroad again. This time they make the better decision. But yes, sometimes we relapse. But being able to recognize what you're doing, and this is when we have to look at decisions. Your decisions matter. Sometimes it's as simple as answering the phone versus not answering the phone. It's as simple as returning that call and not returning the call. These type of decisions make huge shift jumps, huge shift changes. It basically either gets you on your path or put you back to where you got to restart a lesson again. The thoughts you choose to focus on, the topics, people, ideas, beliefs you allow to live in your mind rent-free, the things you're giving your attention to, all of that, they all present new opportunities for a timeline shift or a timeline jump. And if you're not even aware of this, right, because some people don't even know that this is what's happening. And if you're not aware, it does put you at a disadvantage. Okay, let's see if we can get one more card. Okay, so we have 2 more cards. It says the Wailing Tree. Wow. Okay, Wailing Tree reconciliations. When something comes back into your life to be reconciled, that is a beautiful time where you can actually transform whatever it is, right? So second chances are a possibility. And if you find yourself being presented with a second chance, that actually means you're far in the journey and you've gotten to a point where you've grown and you learned, right? This time you just have to do it differently, whatever it is. It's a wailing tree because there's a part of nature that is screaming out to you, please revisit this path again. The reason the tree is wailing, it's crying, is because there's something huge, right? Especially a root or a bark of a tree that's this thick, this wide. It has a lot of memory. It knows a lot that we don't know. Trees have a lot of memory. So they've been here through the wars, through the basically ancient history, and they remember everything that's happened. So they may have been a part of many of your past lives. And if it's wailing, it's trying to get your attention and tell you, listen, you've been here before. Just transform. That's why it's on fire. Transform, reconcile, do it better this time. Learn the lesson. It's trying to get your attention. It's in flames. So this represents a huge opportunity to redo something. Detox, repairing the body, mind, and spirit. This is cleansing. This is going through like what I'm getting like spa day, right? Like you get the colonoscopy, you remove all your worms and parasites and leeches. You do all of this from within. It will show outside. So your skin will clear. You'll seem more radiant. You'll seem more healthy. You'll also be happier, like for no reason. And people will actually tell you you're glowing, you shine, what's going on. And this is the detox or detox. You repair the mind, body, spirit, the Holy Trinity. Many of you, you're here already. You're here. Some, every time they get here, they relapse. And this is why it's not for the weak, because you have to get through this. And this part, it's alone, and it's never anyone's fault. It's not your fault. It's not anyone's fault that's in this situation with you or experiencing with you. It's just happening to help you grow and expand. Don't allow your dreams to be stolen because you give up on yourself, right? It is a narrow path. So staying the course, stay on track. By the time you get here, the ego is healthy. So this is a humbling experience, right? It humbles you. That's why the mirror is vanishing, because the reflection you see is no longer shattered. The reflection you see, you understand, is just you in another realm, and you don't judge it anymore. So you don't need to see the reflection anymore once you don't judge it. Anytime you're judging something, that's ego. You don't recognize that it's you. When the mirror vanishes, it means you understand. You don't need to judge. Everything is you. You see everything as just another version of you existing, coexisting with you, right by you. Learn to love the things around you. Stop judging what you see in the mirror. That is the ego sublimation. It's actually a beautiful journey. So there's a lot of reconciliations happening right now. There's a lot of energies coming back into your life. Some of you guys, these are past life reconciliations, like energies that you've met and you've had long connections with them in past lives. Others of you, it could also be people from this lifetime returning into your life. But if this is happening, there's a transformation that has occurred and you're getting a second chance. So pay attention, okay? Pay attention. And I'm going to leave it there. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hope this was helpful. The timeline reports are available for 2025, and 2025 is a huge year for everyone. This year's timeline reports are actually very promising and encouraging, so I would recommend you all to get it. If you're interested, the link is down below, okay? All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all tomorrow.